Hey there, and welcome to the community race on a Friday night of all things. Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise joining you tonight. My name is Sheep Launcher. I am here with Deathlike. This is a special feature showcasing the flags for the upcoming Highway to the Zemus Zone 6. We're doing it again. Signups are open right now through July 8th. You need to get in and sign up for this tournament, which starts July 16th. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Deathlike, we have two racers who we expect to feature in the tournament, Judge Joe and Madic here on the community race tonight. What do you think of these runners? What do you think of these flags?
They've been in a couple of leagues before, so this is gonna be exciting. As for this flag set, I think they look it can look tough. I mean, that's also tough in the flag description, but don't get too worried about it. There's this flag set can be a bit lengthy, I think, and it's been said before. But I think if you do enough practice, get some tips. There's always other people running their own seeds, getting feedback. It's it's only long if you've never experienced it before, and that's it. It's not that as it's certainly certainly a trek, especially with the difficulty that can be applied if you've never played with some of these flags before, especially with S Pro or T Pro.
Yeah, the shops and treasure chest a little tougher. And the hero flag is on tonight. Our runners are starting with Yang. Our runners have to complete 6 out of 8 objectives, which we will talk about as we kind of get into the race. But T Pro, the tiers that are available in treasure chests are tiers 3 through 7. Cat Claws, Young's best weapon, tier 4. So they should be available, and Young should be able to do some work in the overworld. But we are underway. We are glad to have you with us. Young is joined by Cecil, and some sort of guards give the Earth Crystal right away. And that is a big treasury check, and I think both of our runners have something on their to-do list.
I would just do that right immediately. T Pro is typically affects a lot of the un untrapped chests. Basically, anything that doesn't have monster spawning from it, uh, you you'll be kind of limited in a certain way. And although it's interesting in especially in the beta flag set, there is a min limit. So your garbage is actually kind of lifted quite a bit to a reasonable level. Not it, so you might get something reasonably decent. Although anything that's considered junk by default is converted to straight up money, which better than being in your inventory. So looks like it's that early time for rate that treasury, and let's start rating it now.
Yeah. Nice rune ring. Stardust Rod is nice as well. Not bad. Some cash as well, and Ashura Summon will sell for a little bit. I'd call that about a 6.
I would say mostly mages over 10, because
Yes.
there's some quite a bit of magic stat boosting gear for mages. So I can't. Of course, we started literally no mages in the party. So, and that actually might be problematic to begin with. But the early cat claw loot will definitely make it will pay off a little bit, though can be problematic when you remember, oh hey, he's the hero, so he's also the anchor.
That is true, but a cat claw is going to be very valuable, especially early on. Judge Joe also equipping that DKC with the black sword that he found in the treasury, so DKC actually semi-useful early on.
Yeah, having a black sword on DKC does a lot of things. It's a better assassin's dagger. Though we always will, when we see a Cecil on our team, we will always make that trek to Mount Ordeals and turn him into a paladin. But for now, he's at least as a utility, essentially a utility guy. That is actually pretty damn good.
Madic, finding in the second Troya shop exits for sale, picks up a stack of those. I'm sure Madic is looking for mages, but until they show up, that exit will be very valuable. Remember, no Tella and no Fu in the character pool, so you're not going to have early access to exit anyway. You're going to have to find it through a white mage. Porum doesn't learn it until sometime in the 20s. Rosa learns it through the story.
It's a level 19, but it's close enough. You bet. Basically, I think in this flag set you will see a lot of kind of fades or kind of like a quiet fade of Antlion Cave, because that is the cave where you can use exit, but also the cave a lot of veteran runners kind of go late on those. Usually, going there early usually is when you have a kind of start like this, where you have a Yang and a Cecil. Usually, you want you typically want kind of like a stronger starting pair, maybe like a Palom. Usually is a quick starting pair with any group or an edge, and that's what makes this kind of can be kind of tricky to navigate a little bit early on. But when you have with the early decent loot that both our runners picked up, it isn't as tough as it would have been.
And so both runners deciding to pick up this Edward from the battle with the Magus sisters. Both runners have charm arrows with the Sammy bow, making that Edward pretty useful in knocking down these sisters Madic through just a little bit faster. But both runners will get through.
Yeah, extra loot also helps. Edward wouldn't be as effective. I'm not sure what the starting weapons Edward got, but probably won't compare to whatever loot that was picked up from the treasury. So seeing maybe some diversion here. Though I think Madic is on the same line. Like, hey, I need a few more levels. Maybe get some extra loot here and take on the Antlion, and we're still gonna walk our way out anyways. And so really, it's just levels for Edward and hoping for a decent key item here.
Yeah, those charm arrows work against the sisters because they do work a little bit better against mages, and the samurai bow is also effective. Both runners going into Antlion, not going to fade it just yet. Karate Man at the bottom, even though we don't yet have a Paladin Cecil, shouldn't be a problem at this spot.
I think you're thinking of mute arrows. The charm arrows are the ones for giants. We're talking about the ogres and such.
The sisters look giant to me, especially
Sandy's tall.
Especially Sandy.
Yes. But there are a bunch of mages. There are no giant bosses. Strangely enough, you would think there would have been a giant boss of some sort, but no, that is not a thing. But still, charm arrows have decent damage, and oh boy, we are going down the hook route, or maybe not. There's no guarantee of that. But
there's still some time to avoid a hook route, but that is an early hook. That is also a character check. Madic might be a little bit more inclined to do that. I don't believe Joe picked up those exits that Madic did.
I would strongly think of doing the hook
did.
route just for the character. Right now, I just want a white mage, ideally, or just a mage. That at least would help out here. I mean, this is right now. It's looking like a Berserker party, and that's, well, not bad, but not exactly the team to do it, at least at this early stage. Like, there's no Spoon, we don't have a Paladin, and Yang needs levels. They're basically things that they need a little help, and and you see Madic going for more charm arrows, and they're actually at this tier are probably the best. You probably want some mute arrows as well to fight off certain mage enemies as well. So this like usually when you're shopping for weapons in terms of arrows, mute arrows and charm arrows are usually your best bet.
And Madic picked up a few lit arrows as well. The lightning strikes the elemental weakness of the most bosses in the game, so you never know when you might need lit arrows. But Mom Bomb invading Fabul Castle here. Lit arrows won't help against her.
Well, Cecil's Blade will probably be the most effective. One of the few monsters that are weak to darkness weapons, and only Cecil carries those. So, but you'll still get it'll still explode because there's a large buffer that Mom gets. If you've played vanilla, there's a large HP pool to eat through, and so you're gonna have to eat that explosion regardless.
Judge Joe did go into Eblin Cave, found some tents in the shop down there, and also black belts for sale. He wants some of those.
I mean, you have 3 characters, although in case he can't equip it, but when he becomes a paladin, yeah, those black belts will put immediately to use. Not have to worry about armor until you get a power shirt. But for now, that's probably the best you can do for any Zerkers buying black belts. And usually worth its weight in gold. So Madic finishes the boss fight, and we'll pick up something. Hopefully, Magma Key. Well, that's at least half a forge. That's at least worth the trip.
Yeah, it's not quite the black sword that the king would give in the vanilla game, but that the black sword is available elsewhere in the castle. That is half a forge, and let's talk about the objectives real fast. That's a Rosa facing down either Rubicante or all 4 elements in Eblin Cave. Lots of key items required for these objectives. Our runners have to complete 6 out of the 8, but just taking a look at them, you need the Twin Harp, you need the Tower Key, you need the Darkness Crystal, of course, you need Baron Key, the Pan, and the Pink Tail. So lots of different key items. Nothing's going to come too easy.
I think, especially given this flag set, you want to focus on the ones that are. I guess you have to kind of figure out. Do I want to emphasize going for this or that? I think in here key items. I mean, there won't be any boss hunts, so focus on the key items you'll need. So you probably want to do more favorable series of objectives that will get you more key items. So, and I think Madic is probably gonna. It looks like picking each spot for probably the D-Mist, as I think in this flag set D-Mist has as a free key item. You have defeat D-Mist and then go to Mist and visit where Rose's or Rydia's mind kind of collapses at a particular spot. So if you remember where it is in Mist, she will be there to give you a free key item.
That's right. And wherever D-Mist is in the universe, return to Mist, get that key item. No free key items in this flag set. No free characters either.
Yeah, the difficulty with not getting free characters is that you in some ways sometimes hope your starting characters will be enough to carry you early on, and this ragtag group probably not your ideal set, but seeing Rosa in Cave Eblin is usually a good enough spark. Almost doesn't matter. I don't think we've checked Baron in for the character yet, or at least I haven't recalled.
Neither of our runners have. No.
Yeah, so
that's where Madic is going right now.
So there'll be also no duplicate characters, so that which means that there won't be a second Rosa that you can that you can double up on. That would be, I mean, that would be the dream, having two white mages. Sometimes do the same character. Like if you have two crystal swords, two Cecils, that's the dream. But not in this flag set.
And that is a Palom. So a black mage to take advantage of that Stardust Rod. Facing down a Blarg with a Globe 199 right away, taking down this Yang. So this party needs to work quickly because this Wyvern at this spot will start bouncing nukes off itself.
Still has to cast a wall, so you have a time, and the spot has very low HP, collectively a little bit over 400 HP. The two guards that would normally house the spot, but hey, we got some dolls, so we'll have some time eating through that. We would think, hey, do we have any J items that we can use on these? Yes and no. You can buy J items. You will not find them in treasure chests. They will not drop monsters will not drop J items. So you are kind of, and if the ones you can buy, the offensive types are very limited for this purpose. So you're not getting good stuff. So Madic reevaluates dolls, especially at the karate spot, can be having so many of them is collectively punchy.
And so that spot is very slow, but 6 of them can collectively get enough turns, and that spot very high physical attack, and that's what dolls like to do, is punch stuff. So Madic decides not right now, doesn't need a Quake Kid that bad at the moment before he can handle it, decides to go up Mount Ordeals instead.
I think JoJo's gonna have a better time at it, having the black belts, gotta have more armor to get through that. Of course, Wyvern, want to see the Globe 199 again, but of course in this flag set, we have Witchburn on, so Wyvern does one random spell that can be very destructive, but not too destructive, because things like rocks falling from the sky, that's not in that pool of spells it could use, which is fortunate.
Yeah, Judge Joe did pick up the black belts from Eblin Cave, where Madic hasn't been yet. Madic did pick up some karate gis from Mist, which is good, but not as good as black belts.
I wonder if Madic would have had the chance to hide as Edward, and probably because Goldbas, for the purposes of free enterprise, will kind of reduce your party numbers to two living characters. So apparently Edward was the target of was the hungry target of Shadow Dragon. So if he could have got him hidden, probably wouldn't have eaten anything. So that you could try to get it done. It's probably not vital, but if you really are trying to get everyone live and try to keep their experience up, that would be a way of managing it.
Judge Joe is chewing through this Calbrena fight, and should have enough time to take care of the backdoll. He does. Gets that Quake Kid, gets the key item. Nicely done by Joe. Madic, meanwhile, staring down the comedian. And this is actually a really good spot for Goldbas, but as chat is pointing out, the Magma Key could still be back here, but the hook is kind of the logical route, so this might actually increase the chances of Magma Key being back here. I don't know. The Goldbas, one of those bosses that cannot gate the only way underground. Wyvern is too, actually.
There are rules governing that, and so but Goldbas is actually pretty strong at that, kind of relatively strong, because Mylon, who would normally be at the spot, actually has reasonable magic power, so the damage that you've seen using the Star Veil strat do decent amount of damage. Here Leviathan, actually can actually be very dangerous. I think with the Ice 2s, Mylon Z actually has actual magic stats. So see that Bard? He took a nap because yeah, that is a stronger spot than you'd think, because even though you've never seen Mylon Z use any serious magic, and the only time it does is in the Japanese version where it's only slow. So yeah, bosses and their magic stats.
So, but Matic did have a Star Veil around, has a Thunderclaw for that Yang, and takes care of Leviathan. Uh, Once Matic got that set up, it was just a matter of time. That Leviathan was very dangerous. Matic did very well to take care of that deftly.
I mean, both runners are doing Mount Ordeals, and Jojo definitely catching up. The main thing is really just to get Cecil online. You do not want. I mean, there are some instances where you want to keep DKC unchanged. Here, there's a secondary objectives, hoping maybe the Magma Key shows up, and that's if outside of that, you really just want to get Cecil online, and you just have to have to complete this event with Yang solo as Sea Hero. It's a solo event as Vanilla does, and picking up. Oh yes, the spiciest of spicy things.
Oh, well, that that is something. And with that Thunderclaw, Odin just gets demolished by Matic, and now Matic has a big decision to make.
I'm in the boat, probably in the common boat of not going to the moon. But if you're going to the moon, you're picking up the character, and that's about the only reason to see. I mean, we know. I mean, Matic knows where Palom is. Maybe go to the moon, see what's up there for characters, and that would be the only reason to peek the moon, and maybe take a look at the shop, as gated shops usually one level higher than non-gated shops, because we are using S Pro shop. So ungated shops up to tier 3 items, gated shops are tier 4, and the special Forge shop is tier 5 items because of how it's set up. If you standard, if it was a standard shops, it would be one level higher than was currently mentioned.
So we were talking earlier, Deathlike, about the Charm Arrows Sammy Bow that were available from minute 0, with that opening Earth Crystal, and both of those items being found in the treasury. Matic with that Darkness Crystal now has a Paladin Cecil who could use Charm Arrow's Sammy Bow. A Mac Giant grind, as John Burkhead pointing out in chat, on the table.
I mean, that is the only option. I mean, D money, D machine grinds completely off the table. Both old men, Talon and Fu, not available for Zemus Zone 6. So the only logical grind, and not the only grind, but probably not as attractive a grind. The Mac Giant grind is the primary grind when you have essentially giant weaponry, and Charm Arrows at the top of the help. I mean, my preference would be an Ogre X if you can find it, or Poison X, because the arrows aren't forever, so you do have a limited supply. But though, if you buy stacks of 30, you're usually set for a seed most of the time.
Well, do want to acknowledge and thank our restreamer Scar and our trackers Step Lively, who have been interacting in the chat as well. And Scar did point out there was a Poison Axe available for sale in Eblin Cave. Judge Joe knows that. Matic does not. Judge Joe does not yet know quite the significance of that. But Matic heading up the Tower of Zot, going to see what's up here. Not interested in tangling just yet with what the Darkness Crystal has to offer.
It's interesting between these two runners are very different thinking. Joe probably sees the value of trying to find another character to increase power. Well, whether it is offense or defensively, Rosa being a more defensive option, Matic going with what not even taking a visit to the hook route to the Rosa that we know is there. So it's an interesting way of when you're thinking about like how you're going about making these decisions. There isn't one right answer, but there might be a better answer for a certain kind of runner sometimes. This kind of being one of those very different decision making that so the kind and what you're seeing is like drastically different. Like the not having the Rosa impacts what's happening down the line, or having him early change also just as well changes it. So it depends on kind of the way of thinking of the characters you're bringing in your final team.
Madic tingling with Kinato at the beginning. This spot moves pretty slowly and using a bunch of Thor Rages before Kinato has a chance to gather the water. He doesn't have an unlimited supply, but hopefully should be able to negate that this time. Madic did something interesting, loading Cecil up with a lot of crystal armor. In Free Enterprise, crystal armor sometimes gets a bad rap because you can't Zerk characters who are wearing that. Well, he has no way to Zerk anyway. He has no Bacchus Wines, has nobody who can cast Berserk, and that is really providing a lot of defensive cover with Cecil in the back row glitched, taking one on each Kinato physical attack.
Yeah, being in the back row has the greatest benefit of not just lowering your opponent's accuracy, but you being in the back row doubles your defense. So, and the benefit of that is with cover straps being very popular with Cecil. Just anytime you have Cecil, you want him. If you don't care about offense and you can use the glitch, the back row glitch, all the damage taken by any front row character doesn't matter. As long as Cecil's in the back row, Cecil will be taking back row damage. It's calculated as Cecil is being hit, because Cecil is being hit, regardless of the row of the character being defended. So that is and so sometimes making sure that Cecil having the best equipment just to tank damage is why crystal armor, while not being the most popular and valuable sold off armor, it still has a secondary value of being very defensive and allows Cecil to tank inordinate amounts of damage.
Judge Joe used a Siren immediately outside the changing room, summoned 2 Liliths, and knocked down Rosa and Palom, both of his mages, setting up a Slingshot. Gonna take on some more random fights on his way back down the mountain, but it looks like a grind is incoming. Most likely Mech Giants.
So it's a way of thinking of it. If kind of in a backwards way, you think it's like, so Judge Joe is kind of doing essentially what Madic is doing in a sense. So didn't pick up the characters, because of how Slingshot works, Slingshot kind of accelerates the experience growth process for characters who are behind a level. So they have to be simply 5 levels beyond, under the median, the middle value, not the average of all the characters in the party. So in a way, so Judge Joe's trying to increase the levels of his berserkers, and mages also needing levels, but being down allows the median level to be adjusted. Although there's the problem, obviously problematic having those characters having levels is kind of slowing down the process a little bit in a certain irony. So Madic is essentially doing what Judge Joe is doing, except by not picking up the characters. Those characters aren't gaining levels, not getting experience. They don't exist until they get picked up, and that's that's a kind of it's different.
Madic does get through that very stubborn Kinato at the first spot, and we'll go ahead and charge into the second spot. 2 more characters here for Madic. That's a Sid. So Madic already having a little bit of a different party here, much more of a brawling party with Cecil and Yang, with Edward rocking a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what the other character is. Hoping maybe it's some decent mage. Oh boy, yeah, Madic will definitely want definitely want to take at least the Rosa, probably either from Meridia, and we know and probably wants the Palom from Baron Inn. So, but for now, Meridia, but for now we'll get some stuff. I don't think any sort of summon orb has been picked up from either, so probably very likely to eat the Iridia because of the level she needs to get to her ultimate spells. Level 50 is different from Iridia than it is Palom because her XP growth increases much higher than a Palom would.
I do remember from the treasury in the beginning an Ashura summon. Was that good enough to keep Iridia? I don't think so, but that is a something. Iridia not able to use it right now anyway, and I don't know if Madic sold it off. Eigen in the second spot here. A good place to use a Silk Web because this is going to be annoying.
Yeah, this spot is reasonably fast, and I don't think Foul was being known for punching, but having three opportunities to punch than one is a kind of a dramatic difference. So it's still very doable fight. It's just not it wouldn't be as fast and not ideal, but it'll be done. No worries. Although that vampire did hurt because the spell power at this spot is actually a lot higher than definitely the Magus sister spot. So yeah, the damage can be devastating if there's a mage at this spot.
Judge Joe completing his trek down the mountain and is immediately going to summon the big whale at half an hour, going to start the grind, you would think.
Sometimes it is a thought to grinding and it's like, when do you do your grind? There's kind of like 3 kinds of thought. Necessity, like, I need it now because I need enough levels, like say getting Quake Kid to Quake, and just so he's online and basically dishing out more damage for your party. Then there's the grind, get all the levels you need now and kind of cruise to the rest of the seed. That's in this form would most likely be the back giant grind. And then there's the I'll grind as I go. I'm gonna go. Hey, just let's kind of try to beat up all the boss spots as possibly can, including including ones in the LST, and hopefully just gain the levels that way. And there are pros and cons to each method, and you just have to and as you go, you can figure out based on what your party needs and how you to get the seat done quicker. This is kind of things you have to kind of think about as a runner as you progress.
Madic going back for seconds on the Baron Inn. Going to take on this Wyvern. This party much better equipped to handle the dolls in the second spot. Meanwhile, Judge Joe making his world tour, heading back to Fabul to pick up charm arrows, and now heading back to Troya. And in the item shop, there were exits here and also life potions.
That's a lots of life potions. That's a of course they'll be definitely be used to the particular grind. You can pretty much do this on any enemy, but the life glitch trick, because it is what it named for using the life one spell or item to essentially revive monsters. As long as a monster can be quote revived by a life potion, you basically essentially get a free kill off a monster, and requires very good timing on to get to be able to target a monster that's gonna disappear and die, and use a life potion on that spot. Well, you'll see it when it happens, but the basic idea behind the glitches, life potion, the life one spell, calculates the HP to a target is based on their vitality stat, and as it may not be obvious, but monsters do not have a vitality stat, so that value is 0, and 0 times whatever number you can think of, though it's 5, but it's still going to be 0. So that's how that's how the trick is born. So every single time you kill one monster and you use a life potion on it, it's if you killed the monster again, and that means you got a second kill. So instead of killing the monster twice separately, you kill the monster and then get an extra free kill, and that accelerates the grinding process significantly.
Judge Joe performing a trick using a chart to do a step manipulation so that when he does get to the giant, the to the giant of Babel, the Mac giants will be the first encounter he sees on a particular floor when he turns encounters back on. So that's why he's walking around and doing some resetting. Must have gotten a bad number with how many times he's reset.
Yeah, and the counter manip is explicit for just trying to get the right fight. Basically, trying to kind of rig it in such a way that you know what the fight, the step count is to the fight that you're expecting, and then so that when you get on the giant, the first fight on the particular area will be the searcher that will summon the Mac giant in this instance. So this kind of step chart thing existed way before Final Fantasy IV. It's definitely a Final Fantasy 1 thing. And I believe at least the later SNES Final Fantasy does something similar, but it's definitely started in FF1, and it's being used and taken advantage of again in this game.
And Judge Joe, heading to the giant, Madic did summon the whale as well. Has a poison axe on that Sid. I believe Chad pointed out that he got it from Sheila from Wool Castle. So Madic going to do step manipulation, basically the same thing, just in a different spot. And the reason everybody goes to Baron is because it's easier to run away from fights there because the enemies are a lower level.
Yeah, it is worth pointing out that encounters on any particular area has 8 different types. Now there's some encounter sets that will have duplicate, like there'll be certain monsters that will be certain formations that will be duplicated, but there are 8 spots, and it is worth noting that Sirens always summon the rare spot. So whenever in Free Enterprise that we talk about an egg grind, we're talking about in the underground in this particular area, and it summons eggs that have yellow dragons in them. That's the rarest monster in that vicinity. Siren summon those. It's cut and dry. Here the Mac giants are not a summon away, a siren away, unfortunately. So that's why if you see a Mac giant, or just any sort of encounter reset, this is kind of what you see to get to that point.
And so both Judge Joe and Madic have found their Mac Giants. Madic getting a little bit luckier getting a standard attack instead of Judge Joe's back attack, but Joe in a really good position, and our tracker, Step Lively, pointing out something that I wanted to talk about. Step manipulation is, as you were saying, Death, like a time-honored tradition in Final Fantasy games, started at the very beginning. Are you familiar with the step manipulation tricks in Final Fantasy VII? How much of that game you can skip by knowing when to take steps and when to run in that game? That is phenomenal.
I don't think I've ever seen it in FF7. I'm sure it's a thing. There's a step manipulation, like just knowing the RNG, especially if you've seen the vanilla Final Fantasy IV step, runs. They employ that trick from the beginning to get the optimal run. So that's like, if it's not just speedrunning here, it's speedrunning just for different purposes. So there are kind of unique, incredible things that you learn about, like the engine, the mechanics of the game, where it is invaluable to know. Now that you don't have to master it, but sometimes you just need a at least here you just need there's probably a cheat sheet for it. I'm sure someone probably can be provided on the Discord. If you join the Discord, you too can find those resources to improve your game.
So both runners have their slingshots set up, and without getting into the specifics of how much EXP, Death, like what kind of levels are you looking at for if you were running for your mages to get out of here?
I mean, the ideal set, especially like for Judge Joe, it's clearly just reaching nuke level, but you don't have to reach nuke level. You still might be able to get it. So if you get to around like the upper 40s, like say 45, more like say 48, and that would probably be good enough. Rosa will have white, really does, but you don't necessarily nuke. It's nice to nuke all your bosses to death, because that's a lot of fun. Madic is a little might be a little easier because well, both of them must be. Both of them are using the same trick, but with using the slingshot, having a base level Rydia, a base level Palom is, it's more than enough. And anyone can fling a life potion. You just need enough Zerkers to punch their way into success. So a Cat Claw with a Thunder Claw. I think there are probably some Thunder Claw equipped. Both and Cecil and Sid with probably a Poison Axe. And Edward, if you have to use him with a bow and arrow, charm arrows with whatever bow. Higher level bows are better because accuracy matters. Those hit the attack multipliers. You want to do damage. So if your accuracy is low, there'll be less hits. If it's easier to see if you did FF1 style, where you see number of hits and number of damage you create, but here you just get the numbers, and you don't know how many hits. But it's easier to see multipliers when you see divisibility on in terms of damage on your targets.
And it's worth pointing out that these runners now have separate parties as well. Judge Joe kind of having a more standard one black mage, one white mage, two bruisers, and a utility character in Edward. Madic, meanwhile, going with two black mages. So the bruisers that Madic has won't have the advantage of Zerk, but more offense means Madic can definitely get through Zeromus faster. Maybe could get through some other spots in the game faster. It won't be quite as safe though.
It's a different team building. Madic is going what was on the way. So it's I mean, both runners are doing different, constructing team differently because of the path they're taking to complete the seed. So I like the safety for Judge Joe, but when you have so many levels, when you basically getting them to Z ready levels, you can get away with not having a white mage. You just have to have to kind of deal with your boss fights a little bit differently. In that, Madic has to just go all out and maybe gamble on the Ashura, where her healing is only successful two-thirds of the time. She's gonna be successful 100% of the time. Those. So I think Matic will have to go all out aggressively, whereas Joe has a lot more safety. So it's definitely different, and there's no wrong way to construct a party. It's just there'll be some parties that will be better at one thing than another.
You want to welcome the Raiders from the Borzoi. Welcome to this special feature Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise Community Race, previewing the Highway to the Zemus Zone 6 flags. And we hope you'll stick around and enjoy it. And also, Raiders, go ahead and sign up. Head to the Discord, head to FF4FE.com and go sign up for the tournament. It'll be a blast.
Hey, free poison axe for guys that already have them. The game. Yeah.
So Madic out of the grind did pick up a bunch of levels. Not sure if Madic wanted to finish that grind. There were some swings with Cecil that did some real damage on that searcher. But Madic is out and on his way.
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, Joe started his grind earlier, but Madic ended his earlier. So I think
what happened was Madic used the poison axe as an item. Only did 1 damage, but it poisoned the searcher, and the searcher's HP ran out. So Madic's Palom did not get levels.
I think, that will be interesting. So that just means that Palom will be yeeted pretty quickly. It depends on how on the character on the moon. I don't think we saw the character on the moon anyway. So there's an opportunity to replace him with some probably maybe ideally would be an edge at this point to get levels with Noeth. Already has Rydia, so dupe Rydia. We'll say goodbye. Well, doesn't really disappear. They just merge into one entity. That's what it is. Merge.
Yeah, cannot have duplicate characters in this flag set. And Joe has finished his grind, and I think that went according to plan for him. So from summoning the whale to finishing the grind, less than 16 minutes, he's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, I think Madic is probably not as behind. Probably as long as Rydia is alive and collecting all the XP from the bosses won't be the same, but it still can be made up, because remember, like as you're still getting experience, all the other characters also raising their level, so that the 5 level difference will slowly creep up, but not as fast. So it will stick around longer than you think. I find the Slingshot system, it makes for nice leveling. Let's put it that way. And for characters to catch up, they don't linger behind is kind of it's a nice thing to have, actually.
There are objectives that our runners have to do. They have 8 objectives to do. They have to complete 6 of them in order to get the crystal, in order to face Zeromus at the end. There is one of them available on the moon, which is conquering that vanilla Masamune altar. We'll see if Madic goes straight there.
Still think you want to clear out all of them. At least get all the key items you can possibly get, especially the ribbon room, which is, even though not an objective, 2 potential key items potential for the pen and pigtail that are on the list. Still worth doing, and of course, gotta. I mean, you keeping the Iridia means yes, you want using the Ashura summon orb. I mean, there is no other healing outside of getting cure threes. I think there were. I think were there cure threes? I don't think there were. I'm pretty sure there were definitely seen some cure twos being used. So
Yeah.
that should be that. Outside of those, you definitely need emergency healing, especially if a Z fight goes in an unfortunate direction.
Yeah, and Madic still a little under where he wants to be. That Rydia just has level 3 spells, does not have nuke yet, and that Palom definitely wants Palom to stay alive at the end of this vanilla D Lunars fight, because that'll be a nice slingshot for Palom.
Yeah, I feel like when I do this spot, though I don't think the key items work out this way. Usually, you want to have the key items work in your favor, where you want to do this last because this is the highest experience spot for the Lunar Subterrain, because there's just two monsters and that's where the experience comes from. Especially when you have double XP, but when you don't, it's still the highest XP boss spot. It could be worth doing a treasure a trap treasure chest, like a monster in a box to fight like a behemoth and get the XP that way. It's still not out of the realm to get that happen, but unfortunately did not get both. Tried the breath trick, the reflecting breath trick, as breath can be reflected back onto the monsters, and these are the only monsters that breath can actually be applied to. So these are really can be really soft targets, although didn't get both of them in toad form, but we'll still see some destructive viruses on the toad though.
Yeah, that'll be nice. It's nice to have the one toad there. Gives Madic a little bit of breathing room. A really unfortunate Ashura roll. That's the issue with relying on Rydia as your white mage, is that 66% of the time Ashura works every time, but that's not every time. So getting some quakes off, handling this fight well. We'll maybe need to use another Star Veil in order to try and get the front D-Lunar to turn itself into a frog when it does breath again.
I think there's just simply not enough walls, just from the math. You probably need to get reasonably
got the front
two.
One down.
Yeah, that's the most important one.
Yep. And Madic should be home free at this point. Madic really showing tenacity. Don't forget that really tough Kinato fight at the Magus Sisters spot. Madic really showing gumption, which is going to serve him well in this race and in the tournament.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta gamble a bit. Yeah, even with Palom not getting levels, still picked up 25. Still be under the Slingshot. So there's still another opportunity to get the levels to get to nuke. So there's plenty of experience, and if although I thought it was a seed I rolled. Oh, hey, we don't have to do the hook route.
That's right.
Suddenly we don't have to do the hook route, which is a bonus, because if you're doing the moon, you're not doing the hook route. If you don't have to do the hook route after doing the moon, that's you've gotten all the levels. Unless K trap was on, which is not, but there is no reason to go down a route that you don't have to go.
Yeah, that's true. And that Magma Key, it's an unironic. We can get underground now.
This is the way we want to go. If for reviews, if I had to do it my way, I would probably have not done the moon. I would have intentionally done the hook route, and immediately that's probably a lot of time consumed, because that time spending at whoever is at the ruby spot, that would be a lot of time spent instead of being at this level doing the moon. So this, there are ways of doing this, and sometimes it work if you have all the tools available and pick this particular tool. Doing the machine, I mean the Mac Giant grind. You'd be in a different pace to to completing the seed.
Madic encountering the Pale Dim at the Masamune altar. Pale Dim hot desking it, decides to go from Mura to Masa. Meanwhile, Judge Joe taking on Ashura at the standard plague spot and zapping Ashura with some reflected spells. This spot not as tough. Ashura doesn't have as much HP as some other spots. Still punchy, but Judge Joe in control here.
Yeah, this spot does have a lot of spell power. Kind of incredible. It's considering that when you think of plague, you only think of doing one thing, and casting the occasional fast to speed up your demise from being under count. So that is, I mean, that's not the desired treasure result, but hey, there's still more spots to loot from.
And Madic in control of this Pale Dim fight as well, and Madic, in a matter of moments, will be the first of our featured runners to actually complete an objective.
That is that old saying, "Do your objectives."
Yeah.
Oftentimes an objective will lead you to another objective, and it's super convenient. Now, obviously, you don't rely on it, but sometimes it just leads that way, and it leads to not quite jet seeds, but quicker seeds than usual. So, and I think I know Yang and Magic's side has only the Cat Claw, which is very helpful because Pale Dim can absorb the basic elements. We're talking about fire, ice, and lightning, and so having any elemental weapons, holy weapons are fine, but not elemental weapons. The basic elementals make him do less damage, and hey, we have a thing we can use.
Yes, that is required. That is a pan. Now, John Burkhead in chat making, I think, an astute point, which, they've already done 3 of the boss spots. Basically, while you're up here, while you have these levels, and Madic just got nuke on, I believe, the kid. While you're up here, full clear the moon. Don't chase after that pan or really any key item. But it's nice to have a full panoply of things once you get back down to the blue planet.
Also, on the side, you really just don't want to come back here unless you don't have the pass. That's the only. So if you can do everything you possibly can, at least in the Lunar Subterrain, you're good. It's like you can forget about this place unless you have to walk down from the beginning. But at this point, we just want to guarantee everything is, all the key items that we possibly get are acquired here. And cave value, does it have value, this seed? How about it?
We shall see. There's always value in Cave Bahamut. You know that now. In this tournament, unlike some previous tournaments, you can get key items at the main spots, at the summon spots, and at the moon spot. Not in trap chests, but the main spots, the summon spots, and the moon spots. The Cave Bahamut is a summon spot. So there certainly might be something there, and it depends how much you believe in memes and whether memes believe in you. Judge Joe is going to depart the moon, has done 3 checks, going to leave the rest. We'll see if he's following that pan and doing some objectives.
So it's interesting what was fated. So I don't think either runner has done the Mura spot where the Pale Dim spot would be. Pale Dim, though, this seed is at the Masa spot though, and foregoing the Crystal Sword altar, which is the Blarg spot, Wyvern spot. So
Correct.
Interesting decision to skip it. Maybe that's just the gamble Joe has decided to make. We'll see if that pays off. So I think if Matic is not to gamble, or at least or gambling in a different way, in the sense of Joe won't not not making the gamble Joe's making, just to check out both spots and see if those spots have the desired key items. We still have the adamant rock at large and the pink tail, so there's and also we still need the Baron key. So there's and the twin harp. So there's still plenty of key items that we don't have that we do need to complete the seed.
So it's a matter of calculus. You do have the key items that you're going to get from the pan check, the free one in Fey March. Defeating the queen at the Town of Monsters is an objective, so it's possible. It's very possible. Madic, meanwhile, got through Ashura using lifelock strats. Very well done. It's not easy to use lifelock against Ashura if she shows up in a difficult spot, as, say, on the moon. But Madic made it look elementary.
Yeah, lifelock strats are pretty important, especially where you don't have access to wall or star veils to apply to Ashura, and very handy.
Joe got the adamant from the Fey March. That is another objective that Joe has access to.
Hey, we can do Forge! Yay!
Yeah.
Can we buy our Sirens now?
And so Joe needs 2 more key items in order to complete the objectives. Joe needs 2 of the Pink Tail, Baron Key, Twin Harp, Tower Key.
I think Madic's very fortunate. This is a super free fight, so this is plenty. This is free XP. Good place to be. Although I'm not sure if the battle speed was adjusted, but you just want them. Another way of speeding this up would be to kill the king, and queen will automatically disappear because she's scripted to disappear when the king disappears. There are flags that prevent that from happening, but for the most part, that is those are ways just trying to find a way to speed this up. And this is not the desired treasure or loot, but hey, free XP, can't say no to that.
No, and it's nice to get that out of the way. Judge Joe taking on the king spot here, the Dark Imps, to set up for that queen fight, which is a sparkle. It might be Ogopogo, it might be Plague. Those are your 2 choices there. Just an either 2 from the Dark Imps, but another bucket of experience. Madic is going to commit to full clearing this moon. Can't blame him.
Yeah, I know that the outcome wasn't. There's no key item at the Crystal Sword spot, but that's fine. Plague, of course, is a plague. Especially at certain spots, plague is a real plague. Yes. This fight shouldn't be too long, but can be problematic when you're not ready for it. And we now know that Ruby is at the elements is at the Ruby spot. So thanks for this special review.
Leg. Yeah, Ruby revealing leg and also revealing the location of where the elements are. So nobody will have to deal with the elements now. Judge Joe taking on Plague here can be a little dicey, but looks to have this strategy in hand. Should get the life potions off and should be able to get the timing down.
Yeah, Ruby isn't too long for the seed. Ruby, one of the things Ruby does I'm sure it's noticeable is when you punch Ruby counters with fire too. But special attacks similar to attacks like power from Yang, they just they're not counted as you hit the fight command, even though they are practically like the fight command. But Final Fantasy IV things. But still didn't get the desired outcome. So Judge Joe is not going to be punished for fading these two spots.
And Judge Joe threw that plague and gets the pink tail. Objectives leading to more objectives, and Judge Joe is one key item away from being in go mode.
I mean, it's a good time as any. So, I guess probably. So right now, probably should just turn in the forge before leaving.
Do the forge, do the pan, and when you're above ground, do the pink tail and complete the pan check.
The question is, do you want to do the other two potential key item objectives, going the tower or dwarf? I feel like at this point, it feels like hoping that pan leads to something, and then you can just fade. I guess it depends on what pan results in to determine whether we even bother doing tower or anything. And
pan has 3 checks. I don't know how you turn that down in order to go for 1 check from Dwarf Castle, 1 check from Sealed Cave. Pan is just so easy to have 3 checks, and it's something you need to do anyway. I think that's got to be job 1.
Yay! Claw! Of course, that's... And no, Edge cannot equip it. No, it's only for that man and that man only.
Oh, that's nice.
So Madic is going to kind of probably follow in Joe's footsteps. So I guess we'll have to figure what could possibly be found here. So when you do the Sylph pan check, it is considered a summon check for the purposes of the flag. When you talk to Sheila for the first time, when you talk to Yang the first time, regardless of whether you have the pan or not, that is a K main check. So, but that's both after not having the pan and turning in the pan. So
yes,
just the summon part is when you're at the Sylph's Cave banging on Yang's head with the pan.
Wrong crystal. That's a crystal glove. But that is, required for that check. So not a big deal that it's not going to be a key item just yet. But Joe gonna take care of the pink tail first. No adamants in this seed. It'll be a nice key item, and we'll drop off the hovercraft and do that in a bit. But
yeah,
I don't think we've seen a holy sword for Cecil yet.
No, I don't think there's any good weapons found. I think the fire sword from the beginning, maybe the poison axe is the thing that they have, and I don't think that's either ideal weapons for any. Could be used, not preferably. So I guess we make a trip to the tower, and we have the rat tail, which was the original reason. You want to hope that the rat tail shows up, which it clearly did, so that you can turn in both tails to the tail trader at near Silvria. So that's which is perfect routing.
I don't even know if you turn in the rat tail because Sheila gave the tower key first, and the tower key I think is the quickest of the remaining objectives. You're not going to save any time turning in the harp or going through Baron Castle, I don't think.
Still got to find out what it is, and we do have access. That is go mode. Because we have access to the Baron basement. So
and he has access to tower key before that. Now, pointing out that the rat tail could have the path, which is a very good point. Artie arrows for turning in the pink tail. Judge Joe has 1 objective left. Can go to either Baron Castle or the Tower of Babel.
I think you have to figure out which is faster, and I think the answer is Super Cannon is faster.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I know, I think Baron is easier in terms of difficulty because they're just much earlier in the game, much earlier sequence. But I think
the basement.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
basement is much, and the super
oh,
cannon.
that part.
Yeah, the super cannon itself is trivial.
One
It's
stop. Yeah,
the
one
Archeon
stop.
turret. Yeah.
Yeah, Baron Castle has you have at least you have the Beigen spot fight first. So so it's basically 2 boss fights that you have to do, and if you really want to take the third boss fight to get out quickly or walk your way out, which some people, it has been known that some runners have trouble going the same way they came in, but it's a thing. It's strange, but it's something. But it's a free. This is a super free Val. No,
Yep.
Don't have to worry about spin to win here.
Nope. Nope, less than 1,000 HP here, and no defense even in that tornado form. Judge Joe is through, and as soon as the super cannon is actually destroyed, Judge Joe will get the crystal.
Yeah, and then we'll also get a free key item, and it might be bad if the pass shows up for Madic. That's like Joe will still get the key item received by for completing this objective. So if this is a pass, that would be unfortunate. Although it kind of makes no difference in a sense because unless Madic somehow deviates and stumbles onto the pass. Pass, I think, in this Flexit will have to come from a key item location, even though itself not a key item, for the purposes of the double XP from having 10 key items. There isn't actually an advantage. I think just Joe is just kind of just a step away from everything. Madic is still has to turn in Forge and everything else that goes with it.
Yep, Madic will be able to knock down some objectives quickly like Joe did, but Joe's already done it. And Joe just has to make the walk unless the pass turns up here, which it does not. Joe will make the walk to the moon, but Joe is good to go on levels and is Zeromus ready.
Yeah, it's a good feeling to be ready. Not good feeling. I think Joe is actually figuring out the agility situation. Not ideal. I think 28 is the magic number for I think RA2. I the numbers slowly escape me, but it's really it has to be divisible by the Z's agility divided by 5, and then the RAs are based off of multiples of, not literal multiples, but close enough multiples of the base agility of Zeromus, which is ironically 69, which is nice.
And so I believe Joe is working at 31, which should be good enough with the party that he has. And so while Joe makes that walk and while Madic does his objectives, do want to thank our restreamer Scar and our Intrepid tracker Step Lively for assisting us tonight. And thank you, Deathlike, for dropping the knowledge and helping us gear up for yet another Highway to the Zemus Zone. Highway to the Zemus Zone 6, which tonight is a sneak preview of. It should be a lot of fun. If you're at all interested in it, get those signups in. It ends July 8th at 3 a.m. Eastern, so don't wait until the last day. Just do it now and get some practice in.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes just joining is to just kind of learn how things feel, like how get an experience, of kind of essentially speed running. Not everyone's a natural born speedrunner, but you can there's a lot of things to learn about learning basically things about Final Fantasy IV, just are making more informed decisions on racing. No, not there. You can, of course, you can run however you want at your own pace by yourself. You can roll your own seeds on the Free Enterprise website, but also get a lot. It's also information of like if you've recorded a run, ask for some feedback on a seed you've run on through Discord. There are plenty of people willing to help you out, understand, get tips, hints, anything that will improve your racing experience.
Madic stopping in Dwarf Castle. Don't know what he was looking for in the shop, but did not find it, and so is going to continue with his objectives up there. But Judge Joe almost to Zeromus. Now, Judge Joe has completed all 6 objectives, gets the crystal. Zeromus cannot be anywhere else but where he is at the very bottom of the Lunar Subterrain. But he does get a little makeover for each seed. There are countless, seriously, I've lost count, number of alternate Z sprites. So the time has come to ask the question, and I will do it because I want to. Judge Joe gets to tell us whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Of course, plenty of additional questions like, is butt cute? Does it have a hat? Is there butt?
Madic, meanwhile, paying a visit to Kaipo, gonna pay a visit to Kaipo Lady. Is the butt gonna be Kaipo Lady?
It is possible. It is it is part of that list of possible sprites. Over 500. I don't know the exact number, but I know it's over 500, and that's more than enough than anyone will ever find. I mean, there could be over thousands, I'm sure, but it hasn't reached that number yet. So maybe someday.
Madic did find what he was looking for: star veils for sale in Kaipo.
I think sometimes you want to have some safety. Like I almost thought that maybe looking for Q3s, especially with this constructed party. You don't want to completely rely on Ashura. That I would like Q3 potions as a actual safety net. So I think I understand that.
Apocalypse. He's got a big A on his belt. That's what I know about him.
I feel it's from a comic. I'm unless it's a different reference. I'm pretty sure it's from Marvel Comics, like the Apocalypse. I think I'm half sure. Yeah.
Chat's saying he's from X-Men.
Yes. It's hard to forget because Apocalypse does do big punches and has, I think, laser eyes as well. It doesn't really matter. I think
thick thighs seem to be saving lives here, but this is a very intimidating boss. Zeromus never easy, but the Star Veil up on Cecil gonna bounce nukes and whites off of him.
So I think it looks to be just straight up hybrid strats. When we talk about hybrid strats, we typically mean that there's usually not overwhelming, both the berserkers and spellcasters are contributing, and usually spellcasters contribute in reflecting spells. Berserkers do their thing while zerked. So I mean they do work. And sometimes if you time it right, you can you can kill a boss quickly when you do like a white and a nuke onto a boss consecutively, and then have the next character do a finish blow, and that's a nice time when it works. I don't think it's going to be as smooth as I don't think the damage from berserkers that fancy. It's not. Those are the damage numbers don't excite me, especially with Cecil in the back row with a poison axe.
I do want to remind you that Judge Joe and Madic are featured runners, but this is a community race, and there are 7 entrants overall. So far, no finishers, so Judge Joe on track. That was a full-power Big Bang, but the 4 folks stay alive, and that nuke gets off.
Yeah. So, in terms of HP to be Z ready, you want to have at least 2700 HP to guarantee that. Now, it can be lower because as characters have better magic defense than others, like Yang has no magic defense, magic evasion to speak of, whereas Rosa or Palom more likely will evade a few spell multipliers. So you can get away with having less, but having that large grind, with Mac Giant grind helps a lot with just raw survival. So you often want to nerf the Big Bang as much as possible, whenever possible.
And that is the fade. Judge Joe has done it. Judge Joe finishes in first overall with a time of 1:18:22. GG's to Judge Joe. A very impressive race.
Yep, GG's to Joe. Very smart moves in the early game. Getting the characters he wanted, even while probably keeping the Edward not desirable. But hey, Edward did whatever he needed to do during most of the seed, and still contributing. So that's all you ask for any of the characters that you're carrying here.
Yeah, GG's to Judge Joe, who saw that grind opportunity, took it, and really making the decision to go into Eblin Cave, get that Rosa, that really set the stage for his later game.
It's when you ever have a white mage, even if it's a Porum, that safety net is such a big deal. It's comfort. You have more safety options. You're less likely to wipe. This is no guarantees. It's just less likely a chance. So you have more opportunity. You have more durability, and having Rosa is really a safety net in many seeds. It just is.
And we are joined by Judge Joe, our first place finisher. Your Honor, if you could unmute and tell us about how you enjoyed that Zeromus fight. That last Big Bang looked a little scary from here.
There was enough HP on the party that I was guaranteed at least 2 people to live, I was sure. So just throw a pair of life potions if my mages die and finish it up from there. That's, I guess, what you get when you slingshot mages, clear a couple moon spots, and finish the seed.
Well, that was a very interesting darkness crystal at Mount Ordeals, and you summoned the big whale to start your grind at half an hour in this seed. Is that the way you like approaching these kinds of seeds, is to grind early?
Nope. I would have much rather been allowed to just sort of run wild, maybe mess about with an early Fey March, play a little less just straight up with the seed than this.
Well, you made it look natural anyway, and you finished in first place overall. So, GG's again. So, your party came together pretty nicely. What did you think when you came across that Rosa in Eblin Cave and that Palom in Baronet?
So Palom was definitely what I was looking out for. Meridia. Rosa was a white mage, so always happy to have them, but was not the character I dove a hook route to find necessarily. If that makes sense. Like,
It does.
Kane with a couple levels helps clear the overworld. Edge, I had a ninja stick, probably something or other, would have helped clear real fast. Palom, Stardust Rod, same with Rydia. Palom also can just do tier 2s. But Rosa was a tiny upgrade to Edward in the archery department was pretty much it. Might have been a slight mistake not to check for Rydia on the moon, but
I was going to say, Rydia was available on the moon and in the Tower of Zod, actually. If you had known that, would you have rather had Rydia than Rosa?
Oh, not than Rosa. No, no. It would have been instead of Edward, but Rosa would have done Edward's job in the Mac Giant. Been an archer, done about the same amount of damage. Extra 1500 here and there. Might have been more accurate because of aim. So, overall, because I didn't just immediately get a spoon or anything, and even then with Nuke, not getting the Rydia was a slight problem. I don't know if I would have had to have done less of an Ordeals grind as well if I wasn't so dedicated to slingshotting Rosa. I think it might have taken 3 encounters to get the last level I needed.
It was clear that I think the Darkness Crystal, when it appeared on Mount Ordeals, kind of threw a wrench in the overall plans. Would you say?
Yeah, my plan was I bought some bombs. I had a Palom. I got the Rosa. They lost a bit of the early XP of Hobbs, so I knew they were going to be a hair behind. I would have had that new Cecil. So my plan was just take a couple encounters real fast. Wasn't sure what might have burnt the Siren, might have just done random encounter. Got Virus, got Berserk, and then probably gone to Zod. And this.
I was thinking that the Earth Crystal might be one of the most valuable key items to start with on this flag set. How important was it to your game to have that treasury open so early?
So it was a Stardust Rod, which made Palom a little better. It gave me a good bow, so that did help a little bit. There was a black sword, but that wasn't in the prop treasury. And there was other black swords I would have stumbled around. Cat Claw might have been the big thing in there. I prefer not the Earth Crystal start, because you can occasionally see some divergence. Someone might go Eblin, someone might go Watery, someone might go Baron and Damsian with min tier 3 on. But it is what it is. You know everyone's getting this loot. Some people might loot a bit more. It was a party. That's not the party that Earth Crystal is going to just skyrocket an early game with.
Oh yeah, certainly. It did still help your early game, because I don't think it would. I'm sure you wouldn't have made quite the same decisions. I mean, your Edward wouldn't have been as effective if you did not have the samurai bow, and you had quite a bit of mage equipment, so that Palom was easily justifiable.
Palom's all justifiable.
Well, Palom was always justifiable at any time, but I'm saying there was it was the treasure, the treasury made quite a your kind of your early game decisions a bit different. Wouldn't you say? In a sense, not because I mean the team probably needed a little bit of help early on.
I think it might have most. I think the big thing it would have done. I don't know what's in Watery Pass to say how that might have affected because whether I rush Hobbs or not. With that treasury, it had enough stuff for people that rushing Hobbs for a character to use it was definitely the play. I like to get the Hobbs information real fast, even if I might need to come back if with this type of party, but yeah, it was fun seed. I hope I showed a form of Mac Giant that might have been different than other people. You don't need levels. Just buy more life potions. Although, apparently a samurai hat and a black belt is pretty good defense for Cecil.
And last question from me: how are you feeling about the upcoming tournament?
I've always enjoyed a good tourney. I do enjoy a bit of challenging flags. What is my strength but also downfall is how I kind of like to aggressively push Feymarch stuff, and this flag set does not exactly lend itself well to that, so who knows, maybe having to play it a little more straight up, maybe not take some of these plays as often might be to my benefit. Find out.
Well, Judge Joe, GG's once again on your first place finish, and we'll see you for the tournament and in the warm up races.
Yep. Lots of fun. Thank you guys for the restream. I'm sure it'll be a fun watch. Hope everyone enjoyed it and has a nice night.
GG's again, Joe.
And while we were talking to Judge Joe, Madic finished in second on Restream and second overall with a time of 1:28.29. GG's to Madic. Hopefully that seed wasn't too traumatic. Madic actually really did well. I can't say enough about how he recovered on the moon after that grind went a little bit sideways for him. It was really impressive, and for Madic to come in second overall, really good. So I'm super impressed.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a good time. I mean, you have to consider for I think the runners who are still run this in the community. If they didn't do early darkness, and do the grind, the Mac Giant grind, it's hard to like shed that much time. I mean, you have to consider so many other factors, and again, Darkness Crystal is a very spicy key item, and to go to the moon early, do the thing, and I mean, obviously, and there he joins us. Welcome, Madic.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, loud and clear. GG's Madic.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So I just
A lot of fun.
want to say, yeah, that seed demonstrated a lot of gumption. You just had a bunch of really tough, challenging bosses, the D-Lunars, the Kinato at the Magus sisters. What do you think when you have a stubborn boss where not everything is working quite the way you intended?
You just gotta push through it and try not to let your emotions get the best of it, because that's kind of what happened to me. I did so I opted for an early Mac Giant grind, trying to double slingshot both Palom and Rydia. Had a pretty decent setup for it. A Cecil covering with moderately good gear, and the Thunderclaw and a Poison Axe, Sid and Yang. But disaster struck because Underestimated how much damage I dealt to the Searcher, so I killed it a bit too early. Actually, the Poison Tick from the Poison Axe killed it.
I was gonna
So,
say.
so Rydia got a lot of XP, and Palom, who I was like, oh, I'll just leave dead and res him up before I finish things off, he got no XP. So, at that point, I was quite distressed. You know, I was like, well, okay. Rydia was like a few levels short of Nuke, and still learned most for spells, and obviously my fighters were still got a decent level. So I did what I could with it and just went straight to Moon and cleared that. And yeah, each of those bosses were kind of not very nice at all. So D-Lunars, you know, it was fine. Luckily, I had one Starville remaining, and so I was able to use that, get the Reflect off, got one Frog, and was able to use strats to take those out. Thankfully, it did reflect and got at least one Frog. Um, and then there was Paladin, which wasn't too bad. There was Ashura in the White Spear Altar spot, and I had no Mage killing equipment and no Starveil, so I had to do some jank life locking with spells and melee attacks, and that took forever and yielded nothing. There was King and Queen Eblin, which was free. Yeah, and I can't recall, was it the Mer Altar? Oh, Ruby Conte wasn't bad. But early on, before the Mag Giants, yeah, so two bosses that were kind of annoying. One, I saw that Palom at Baron Inn, and I wanted him right away because I had the Stardust Rod. Sadly, the dolls were a bit too much for me at that level, so instead I went to Ordeals, and I thought, well, I'll do Ordeals, and then I'll do Zod. Going to Zod, of course, seeing the turtle at Zod 1. Luckily, it wasn't too difficult. Honestly, it was just time consuming, honestly, because my characters were a bit underleveled, and I didn't really have, I didn't have great equipment and whatnot. But yeah, I still got through it, and despite the issues with the Mac Giants, I still managed to salvage it as best as I could. Trying to think of what else. So I did most of my moon clear. Luckily, I got the Magma Key from that, so I didn't have to do hook route rather. So I was able to go straight down to underground and basically finish up all of my objectives. No serious issues there. I was seriously lacking though. I didn't find Cure 3s. I didn't have cabins until much later when it didn't matter. I had no white mage, so I had no wall. I didn't have much of anything really. I had Iridia with Ashura, which I didn't really need honestly. And eventually I did have to. Luckily, before I went to do Zeromus, once I was in go mode, I was able to find the Starveils. I made sure to buy them before I went to the moon and went to him, and managed to. The Zeromus fight, I contemplated, well, should I, do some monster boxes on the way down, get Palom Nuke, and I thought, well, I'm probably pretty behind because of my goof ups. I'll just go in it with Rydia. She had some really good equipment, and just Palom will help a little bit, and we'll do reflect strats, and got through it. So I'm mostly happy that despite all of the issues, I managed to keep my cool, and I managed to get through the seed and do the best I can, despite my plans going completely not the way I wanted them to.
That was certainly a great run. I mean, you worked with what you had. I guess the most notable divergence was that your opponent Joe went to at least just look at to pick up the character. At least look and pick up the character at Cave Eblin, and that happened to be a Rosa. So, and given what you said, would you have considered going to Cave even what we know that you ended up using the Magma Key from the picked up from the ribbon room on the moon. You didn't peek the character on the hook route.
Yeah, I just if a Rosa was there, I probably would have. If I knew a Rosa was there, rather, I probably would have picked her up, obviously. But at the time, I just thought, I've got two black mages, I've got two fighters capable of taking down these Mac Giants, and I've got a paladin who has absolutely nothing but good defensive equipment. Let's just go do it, and I can try and power through all of these fights without a white mage and get through it. And I did have an Ashura as backup if needed for Rydia. So that was kind of my quote unquote backup plan, I guess. And I was like, well, I'll find Cure 3s later. So I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of thinking about it now. I don't know if I would have taken that rose or not. I just felt like if I could just get solid levels on all my characters with a good Mac Giant grind, I don't really need a white mage that badly.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
That was kind of my hope.
Yeah, I was thinking along those lines with you on that. Like you just went with whoever you had and picked up whoever from Zot and then mostly called it a day. So yeah, that made plenty of sense. Did you? Were you? I definitely saw the. I kind of missed the poisoning. I think you just you forgot kind of leaving the poison on the searcher to end your grind early. It happens to everyone. It happens, like you forget. Oh yeah, he has to.
Yeah,
That's still going on.
I think I can't remember if I had 1 or 2 more left, and then I was gonna life up Palom and call it a day and go smash the moon. And yeah, as soon as I saw that poison tick, I thought, oh no, please don't kill. And it did kill him. I was a bit overconfident, and I was, because I actually attacked the Searcher twice with Yong, and he had Thunderclaw. I thought, well, I'll get him lowish so that a power hit from Yong will finish it off when I'm ready. But I suppose I underestimated how much damage or I dealt to it, and then that poison tick. As soon as I went off, I'm like, oh well, okay, lesson well learned. I'll remember for next time. There's no need to take that much health off of the Searcher. I mean, it's better to have, if I miscalculate the damage and I don't kill the Searcher when I want to, well, that's 1 extra Mac Giant. We'll deal with it. It's much better than the Searcher dying too early and the resulting disaster that befell upon me. So lesson well learned.
Well, last question from me, Madic. You've certainly shown tonight and in this kind of warm up that you're going to be a runner to watch in Highway to the Zemus Zone 6. How do you feel about the flags, and how do you feel about the upcoming tournament?
When I first saw those flags, I will be honest, I was intimidated. I was like, oh my goodness, because just almost every seed I did before now in the various clubs and my practice seeds and whatnot, and the various async races and all that stuff, did not have such stringent flags. The S Pro and No Fu and all the other various quote unquote restrictions. It was it was quite it was intimidating. I'm like, well, can I even do this? But over the last several weeks and several months, with all the various practice asyncs and whatnot, and the on the ramp club that's been happening weekly, getting us all prepared for it. I mean, every time I do this seed, I learn more and more. And honestly, I'm actually glad that these flag sets were chosen, because it just gives you, at least for me personally, I learned a lot more about this game and a lot more about the intricacies of certain things. The Mac Giant grind being one of them. Before this flags, I didn't even know how to do it. But you just learn a lot, and there's more to learn, I'm sure. But I've learned quite a bit about just this game, and what limitations you have when certain flag sets, and how to work with your limitations. So I'm actually very excited for the tournament. I'm really looking forward to it, and seeing what I can do, and looking at all the other racers and seeing how things go.
Well, I know we're really looking forward to seeing you as well. Certainly an exciting racer, and like we said, showing a lot of determination, which is really going to show you in good stead. So, GG's once again to you, Madic. Any last questions, Deathlike?
No, I'm good. Well, good luck in the tourney, Matic. That was still a good race. It's a very good time. I'm sure you rewatch this and look back at how some of the other clear up on some of the other things other than the obvious grind mishap. There's always little things everyone can do to get better at this. But very good, definitely a very good attempt given what you were working with.
Yep. All right. Thanks all, GG's, and thanks again for obviously the team that's putting together this tournament. Again, I'm looking forward to it. All the restreamers that are volunteering and whatnot. Really appreciate what you all are doing, and like I said, it looks like a lot of work and effort has gone into preparing for this tournament. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. So thank you, and
Thank
have a
you,
good night.
GG's once again, Matic.
Yep.
GG's.
And want to update our third place finisher, Dakar Smash, finishing in third place with a time of 1:33:24, and Garen finishing in fourth place with a time of 1:38:38. And that'll wrap things up for us tonight. Once again, want to thank our restreamer, Scar, our intrepid tracker, Step Lively. Thank you, Deathlike, for co-commentating with me. Hey, the tournament is coming up. If you want some more group practice, there's an on-ramp async. That's open till Tuesday night. Async meaning you can do it whenever you want to, kind of compare what's going on with everybody else, but you're not in a live race. Really a fun way to get your feet wet on these flags. So join the Discord and sign up for that. Our next community race is Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Free Enterprise channel. Deathlike, anything you want to mention before we sign off for tonight?
Outside of visiting the Free Enterprise website and joining the Discord, because all the good shenanigans happen on the Discord. That's why it's there, right?
Yep.
That's what all the fun is at. And for tips, tricks, just learning about Final Fantasy IV and other related things. There's plenty to talk about.
Yep, and for Scar and for Step Lively and for Death, my name is Sheep Launcher, and until next time, so long.